fully cooperated with law enforcement from the very beginning. There is no evidence that implicates them in any way. None. Unfortunately, there has now been a civil lawsuit filed that attempts to suggest otherwise. The lawsuit is reckless, irresponsible, and completely unsupported by the facts in this case. This case has been thoroughly investigated by the Gilgo Beach Task Force. My clients have cooperated during that investigation from minute one, right in front of this house in the command center post that was put out here the minute Rex Heuermann was arrested. It is deeply troubling in the wake of such tragedy that anyone would choose to advance claims that have no factual basis only to serve to further harm individuals who themselves are dealing with profound personal human trauma. My clients are trying to process the reality that someone they trusted, a husband, a father, is accused of committing unthinkable acts. They are victims in this situation as well, not perpetrators. We ask for restraint, fairness, and for the media and the public to focus on the pursuit of justice for the victims rather than amplifying unfounded, reckless allegations. There will be a time and a place to address the claims through the legal system in that process, and we plan on doing that. But today, let me be absolutely clear. They have absolutely no involvement in the actions of Rex Heuermann, and we look to be fully exonerated in this reckless lawsuit brought by John Ray. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to respond.
Sources are telling us that Rex is going to plead guilty to murdering 8 people tomorrow. Your client's reaction to knowing that he's going to be admitted to these murders?
Until tomorrow morning, we don't know what's going to happen in the courtroom. That's between, Rex Heuermann, his attorneys, and the district attorney's office. I'm not going to comment on any of that, any speculation of what's going to happen tomorrow.
Has Rex had any conversations with us ahead of tomorrow's possible plea?
He has, but again, I'm not going to discuss those conversations. So the family is prepared for whatever's going to happen tomorrow in court. They have, had conversations, with Rex over the past, several months. So they are prepared for whatever outcome is going to happen in court tomorrow.
Has there been a lot of news to plead guilty?
They have not been involved in the decision making of Rex, one way or another.
But there's been a lot of news about them making money off of this documentary. Peacock is here. What do you say to that?
I say this is America. People are entitled to, whatever they are entitled to do. This is nothing about Rex Heuermann. This is about Asa's life and her process through this, Victoria's life and her process through this whole thing. There's no comment other than that.
Would Asa like to comment at all directly about?
No, she will not.
And is there any? Can you go over any insight into why Rex may have changed his decision about a guilty plea? Has that been shared with the family about the reason?
That's between Rex and his legal team. We are not part of any decision-making process that took place on why or if he's going to change his plea.
How have you prepared? Is this a relief? Is this a relief for your clients? What's happening tomorrow?
My clients have been living a nightmare for the past 3 years. July 13th, 2023, their home was turned upside down. They were removed from it for 13 days. Every one of their personal items was removed, many of which we don't have back yet, wallets, passports. And then again, about a year later, they were removed for 5 more days. And again, everything searched, personal property, all their clothes, all their bedding, everything was taken. So they're looking to move on, whatever that's going to be, and put some closure to this. But again, the focus is on the victims and their families. They have been victimized. Ultimately, they will be okay. But we want to remain the focus where it is on the victims and their families.
Is the family planning to stay in the home and planning to stay on the home?
We're in a problem. We're going to make that decision once the conclusion of the case comes.
Bob, how have you prepared your client to sit in court and hear those words that we've been told is going to happen? This is a dramatic change from the not guilty insistence for all this time that he does in fact plead guilty to these crimes. How do you prepare your client to hear those words publicly?
Well, she's prepared to hear whatever's going to come out in the courtroom tomorrow. And we've been consistent. She has never said that Rex Heuermann is not guilty. She's been consistent saying the man that she was married to, the Rex Heuermann she knows, she did not believe was capable of these crimes. Just like the next door neighbor, you wouldn't want to believe the neighbor is capable of these crimes. They're horrific allegations. Nobody would want to believe it. She's now had almost 3 years to process that, and she is prepared for whatever outcome is going to happen in court tomorrow, and she will deal with it.
But it's 3 decades in a very small living space. Were there any signs?
Ma'am, I have the full trust and faith in the Gilgo Beach Task Force, who has thoroughly investigated this case. My clients have cooperated from minute one. They have no involvement whatsoever. They have been clear in all the court filings. Asa, Victoria were not in the jurisdiction. when these homicides took place, whether they were in Iceland, whether they were in New Jersey, whether they were in Vermont. They were not here. And if you look at the prosecution's case, Rex Heuermann was particular in the homicides were performed or committed when they were out of the jurisdiction. No involvement whatsoever. I have no doubt in that. Yes, yes, Jimmy.
So we understand Peacock's here and doing interviews. I mean, is there any way Ace will give us one statement despite these interviews through Peacock? We would like to hear, the public media would like to hear a statement from Ace.
There'll be an appropriate time. There still has a prosecution of a criminal case pending. There's still, until the criminal case is closed, they are not going to comment on this investigation at all.
Is the family anticipating additional civil, obviously additional victims? Do you expect additional civil litigation to come?
I don't anticipate, but I am confident. They have no involvement whatsoever, and any civil case that's brought is going to be reckless and will be dismissed. Anybody else?
Have you had any direct contact with John Ray since that was filed? Have you had a response to him, or you just wait?
No, I'm just going to wait. I mean, honestly, Johnny has spent, like I said, the better part of a decade trying to remain relevant in this case. He has one client that he's had, Shannon Gilbert, who, fortunately or unfortunately for Miss Gilbert's passing, the other victims may have never been discovered, and he has tried to latch on to this case. He has spent tens of thousands of dollars of his own money investigating and trying to pursue some type of civil remedy against anybody that could recoup his own costs. So I have not had a conversation with John Ray. We'll address John Ray in court where it's appropriate, and frankly, we're looking into the possibility of even bringing John Ray as a defendant because of his reckless, vicious attacks on my clients through his numerous press conferences and allegations that he's made against them. So John Ray may find himself as a civil defendant one day in this whole action.
All right, plans after tomorrow's court proceedings? Is she going to go?
We'll have an additional statement to make tomorrow after the court proceeding, which will address whatever is going to go on tomorrow morning in court.
And does she have plans to go and visit Rex in jail?
We're not going to discuss that now. Yeah, it's not going to discuss any of that right now.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Appreciate you coming. We'll see you tomorrow morning. I will get there bright and early.
This has been breaking news.
Hi everyone, Tony Sadiq with an update on your first alert forecast, and we've got a brace for a winter chill. Cold fronts go by today, and you can feel it. There's a difference. That gusty wind will really help to emphasize and reinforce some Canadian air that's moving in. By tomorrow, this sets us back to like February weather, especially in the morning. The highs struggle, almost 10 degrees cooler than it should be. Normal highs 58 degrees. We can't get out of the 40s all day. Thankfully, it's short-lived. There's a warm-up on the way to end the week. But highs today, it's the low 50s at best. Plus, you're contending with the unfriendly breeze. It's going 25 to 40. So it's definitely a blustery feel, even for this time of the year. And while the winds are not going to be quite that hefty first thing tomorrow, by then the damage is done because the cold air is here and you're really feeling it. I think everybody wakes up to air temperatures sub-freezing. You tack on a 5 to 10 mile an hour winds, and you got to dress for 20s for the first, few steps out the door. So layers, the hats, the gloves, the scarves. Yeah, don't really dress for April. We do get back to April weather. Want to let you know we have freeze warnings in effect for portions of the tri-state south of the city where the growing season has begun. We also have those freeze watches for portions of the city, like the 5 boroughs, Staten Island, the Bronx, and Nassau. You're included too, as well as a couple of communities in northeastern New Jersey. Thankfully, this will be a one-day deal. Don't be surprised to wake up to some frost, and then we're going to work towards a nice warmer pattern as the jet stream lifts, and by Friday this cold air is history. You're breaking out shorts, you're loving life, and temperatures are overachieving. But again, watch out if you have tickets to the Mets, Yankees the next few days, next few nights. It's going to be rather brisk out there. But I do think we could get back to more spring-like weather. Our pick of the week, how about Friday? 60s. Gets even warmer on Saturday. Minor system could mean the isolated chance for a stray shower Friday night or Saturday, but otherwise this is a mainly rain-free 7-day forecast.
Mayor Mamdani just announced the opening of the city's first treatment center at Bellevue Hospital for incarcerated people. It's a major step towards the administration's commitment to closing Rikers Island. The mayor says the Bellevue site represents a fundamental shift in how the city delivers care.
For decades, our city's approach to mental health has leaned heavily on criminalization. For many in the throes of crisis, Rikers has been their holding cell. As such, it has become a de facto mental health facility, now standing as the second largest in the country, forcing staff and corrections officers to shoulder a burden they were never supposed to bear.
The 104-bed unit will serve people in custody with complex medical needs. City plans to open 2 other